Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is at FeelThePaynePW, or Nick Payne if you prefer, and you're watching my 30th episode here on my team career for F1 2020. And if you haven't checked out my previous episodes, please go do so now. My last episode, of course, episode 29, was at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I did qualify on pole position, so a good start to the race for us. Obviously, getting in P1 and retaining in P1 for the majority of the start of the race up until lap 7, where I did have some trouble and I did cause myself to have some front wing damage as the rain started to fall down, missing the breaking point. And unfortunately, that was just the where it ended up all the way through to the point where I actually DNF'd from the race, unfortunately. I lost my front wing and I had to try nursing my car back to the pits, and unfortunately I just couldn't do so in the rain. It was too torrential conditions. But anyway, as we move on, we move forward onto this race weekend, and obviously we've got the activities in front of us, and we're going to do the 2-day sponsor event and advance on through to obviously gain a bit of money and team morale from it. And hopefully we can have a better race today in Canada. Go down onto the grid. Straight, brake just past the tarmac, go across the apex of the first turn, round the sort of long right-hander of turn 2 into turn 3, brake at the 50-metre board just slightly, go across the curbing at the apex into the chicane, round into end of sector 1. This way you have to go across the sort of rubber bit just past the curbing to make sure you get as much out of the car as possible. Well, that's my driving line anyway. As we go into the DRS zone, brake just before the 50-metre board, round 75 metres, through the chicane, round obviously into the fast bit just before the hairpin, brake at the 100-metre board just to make sure you can get around there without breaking your front wing or going deep into the runoff area. As we go into the DRS zone, where it goes right into the very fast part of this track. As you can see, it's already 200 plus miles an hour, 210 it reaches before you brake, go into the chicane, careful not to go into the wall of champions, into the DRS zone and across the line, and it's actually pole position for Q1. So a great first lap from us, and as you can see, Leclerc is actually in P2 as well, and Mercedes P3 or 4, Ferrari P5 and 6. So that does look like the pace at the moment of where all the cars is, where we can get as much out of each car as possible. Gasly goes across the line fastest, but then we go across the line in front of him in fastest on the medium compound as well, which is vital. We've actually outpaced everyone on the medium compound, so we will start the race on the medium tyres, of course. And as we come across the line in our first qualifying lap in Q3, we go P1 again, but unfortunately for us, the rain does come down, so it does mean Leclerc's lap, when he does go out on old softs, means that he goes out in P9 in Q3, unfortunately for him. But for us, we do have pole position. Now let's see if we can turn that pole position into a win.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. The rookie lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Ricciardo, Alexander Albon, and Vettel, Norris, Bottas, Leclerc, and Pierre Gasly, Kvyat, Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, and Sainz, Perez, Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kimi Raikkonen, Matsushita, Russell, Latifi, and Nick de Vries. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
And obviously, don't forget we qualified in Q2 on the medium tyres, so we do start on the medium compound. It's going to be a two-stop strategy regardless of what we choose to do. We're going to do the medium to soft, and we're going to change that there, as you can see. We're going to change it there, and hopefully that gets the best out of the tyres at the end of the Grand Prix. But don't forget, we are at the front of the grid. We will be going longer on the first stint. Hopefully they have to do a three-stop strategy. But as we go underway after the 5 red lights, we're just looking to keep into turn 1, make sure we get there first, make sure we get in front, and as you can see we do cut across into first position in front of Verstappen. He's not in front of us, so we do lead into turn 1 in P1 as we go through the chicane. It's just about keeping away from mistakes now from here on out. As you can see, Max Verstappen's got a bit of company behind with Ricciardo and Hamilton. As long as we can stay in front through on the medium compound, then we should be good for the remainder of the race. Don't forget, Verstappen will be pitting earlier than us, and we'll be on a hugely different strategy to us. Hamilton is the one that we've got to focus on, considering he's on the medium compound as well. As long as we can stay away from Hamilton behind in P4 at the moment, and we should be good for the remainder of the race. As there's yellow flags behind us at the hairpin, must have been a collision somewhere as we come down the back straight with no DRS, of course, into the chicane. We actually cut the curve quite massively there. Naughty from us. Should have probably got a penalty for that, but thankfully we didn't, as we go across the line and we remain in P1 for the time being, with Verstappen a 2-second gap behind now. And as we come across the line to get lap 7, we get the fastest lap again, and it's a huge gap to Verstappen behind now, as Leclerc has now come into the pits. As we're coming onto the back straight of lap 10, it's a huge gap, and Giovinazzi is out of this Grand Prix now. As you can see, such a huge gap to Max Verstappen behind. He's struggled to keep up, even on the soft tyre. We've been so quick with the medium compound, so I do think we're just going to hold on for the time being. And as you can see, Verstappen is now in the pits. And here on lap 12, as we come through, we're coming into the pits now to change these medium tyres. So, to be honest, Max Verstappen did do a great job on those soft tyres. Only pitted 2 laps ago, so he held off for a long time. Maybe it could have been a smart decision to try doing a medium to hard, but we're coming to the pits now to fit the next set of medium tyres. It's a 3-second stop, so not the quickest, but Hamilton is fitting soft tyres, so that could cause some problems and some troubles for us as we come into P1, and we actually remain in P1 as well. We've had such a gap to the cars behind that we've been able to keep in front for such a distance, and we actually fastest lap once again here in the Canadian Grand Prix. And as you can see, we've got to the point now where we've got such a gap on the cars behind, we're actually having to overtake the back markers with a blue flag. So we are dominating this Grand Prix, and as we come into the pits, which will allow the previous back marker to go back through, we're fitting the soft tyre now, and as you can see, it's a 20-second gap, which will go down. Remember, it will go down considering they were on the soft compound. They're now gone to the medium, so we'll have the pace advantage once we come out of the pits. But will we stay in front? Will we have to make an overtake as we come out of the pits? And it is still quite a bit of a gap, and as you can see, Hamilton is behind us, but it's still a 3+ second gap as we go into turn 4 and 5 into the chicane, as Leclerc has to pit again. So as we come through the chicane at the final part of the track, we've got purple first sector, purple second sector, not purple third sector, but still a new fastest lap for us on these new set of soft tyres, and we're approaching the back markers once again here at the Canadian Grand Prix. And you can see there's a bit of fighting going on between Nick de Vries and Latifi, and he's actually made contact with us. He was so slow through turn 2 that as we were trying to get past, he slowed us down, trying to let us through, but actually backs us right into us. And hopefully we ain't got too much damage to our car. It doesn't feel like there's any damage. It was minimal contact, but still enough to feel. And as we go through into DRS, we've got overtake mode to get past the back marker of Latifi, and we actually go deep into the chicane, but we had to use so much power there just to get past the back marker. As we come through on lap 33, and there's one more back marker that's in front of us, and that's Matsushita, the other Haas driver, in front of us, and now we've got overtaken him. So that's 3 cars we've overtaken that are at the back of the grid as we come home here on lap 35 to show a dominant performance, and it's a win here at the Canadian Grand Prix for us at Payne Racing. Great result for the team.
They take the checkered flag then here in Canada in what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. What do you think it was, Ants, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. Let's see what effect this.
And obviously, because of the fastest lap, because we got P1, that is a 26 point, so obviously we do improve massively here in the Drivers' Championship. Esteban Ocon getting driver of the day, going up to 9th from 16th. Leclerc dropping from 9th to P12, so not great result for him. And we actually move up into P3 in the World Drivers' Championship, 10 points behind the leader now in Max Verstappen. So we are pushing and getting very close to the World Drivers' Championship for this season. I didn't think it was going to be quite possible at the start, but considering there's a few races where I have been getting the wins, obviously not helping with the fact of the losses or the DNFs, but we are pushing, so hopefully we can push a little further. If you have enjoyed this episode, please like it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I've been at FeelThePaynePW or Nick Payne. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.